If you ask somebody what they remember about Atari these days, they might give you memories of their youth, of being in their parents' living room, playing games with blocky graphics, using a joystick, kind of like this. Or they might tell you about the time that the video game E.T. caused a 1980s video game crash. It really didn't. Or even how there's going to be a new Atari-themed hotel casino in Las Vegas at some point in the future. But what they might not tell you is that the company actually published a Magic the Gathering game on the original Xbox and PC. That game? Magic the Gathering Battlegrounds.
Raging Goblin.
Developed by Street Level, a San Francisco-based game studio that closed in 2010, Magic the Gathering Battlegrounds released in November of 2003 as a real-time strategy game based on Wizards of the Coast's now iconic collectible card game. Despite its source material, the video game actually differs quite a bit from the tabletop card game. Akin to the ill-fated Magic the Gathering coin-op arcade game, Armageddon, Battlegrounds consists entirely of real-time combat, where players enter with a predetermined spellbook and victory is typically determined in the metagame. Before duels, players can edit their spellbooks, with each spell being represented by icons that the player can rearrange. Each player is represented in-game by a duelist, and the objective is to reduce the opposing duelist's life from 20 to 0. In the game's arcade duel mode, matches have a 10-minute limit, after which the player with the highest remaining life total is declared the winner.
Duel.
Once in combat, duelists can perform a physical attack once per second to attack the creature or player directly in front of them. Duelists also have the option to cast spells by spending mana collected from crystals that appear across the battlefield over the course of time, or when a creature is destroyed. They can also defend, producing a shield that halves the amount of damage received, but significantly drains the duelist's mana reserves. Spells are represented as a menu within a menu. A player's spellbook has pages of 3 spells per page, though a spellbook can contain no more than 10 spells in 2 colors. Spells can be cast at any time and at any quantity.
Engulfing flames. Engulfing flames. Engulfing flames.
Assuming that the player has enough mana to pull it off. Furthermore, more expensive spells take longer to cast than cheaper, weaker ones. And while there's a huge gameplay disconnect between the card game and this action-oriented arcade-style game, spell and creature names such as Wrath of God, Llanowar Elves, Spelljack, and Pendril Mists should ring a bell. There are a number of dueling arenas available, though the differences are mostly aesthetic. Each arena is divided into 2 halves, your half and your opponent's half. Duelists can cross into opposing territory to steal mana crystals, but at the detriment of being unable to perform any sort of attack while over there. Also, if a player is in opposing territory for too long, they begin to suffer a loss of 2 life every few seconds. In addition to the game's arcade duel mode, there is also a quest mode. In quest mode, players go through each color, getting a new spell for each completed match. Over the course of the mode, players will find themselves ultimately battling against 2 well-known Magic characters from the Invasion block in Brothers War, Sabo Tavak, a red-black duelist, and Mishra, brother of Urza, and the final boss of the quest mode. While Mishra has the ability to cast spells of any color, players find him to be a rather easy-to-defeat final boss, thanks largely to poor AI.
Mishra was gone and all I felt was betrayal.
Defeating Tavak and Mishra unlock the characters as duelists. Unfortunately, they do not come equipped with spellbooks of their own, meaning that players have to supply them with their own custom-made ones. In short, they're nothing more than unlockable player avatars. Despite its overall disconnect from the tabletop game, Magic the Gathering Battlegrounds actually received adequate reviews from outlets such as GameSpot, which gave the game a 6.9 out of 10 on Xbox, citing its fast-paced action despite its lackluster interface. And Worth Playing, which rated the PC version an 8.4 out of 10, saying that while it's quite different than its CCG source material, you will, quote, probably have a smile on your face after your first few battles.
So despite its massive departure from the Magic the Gathering card game, Battlegrounds isn't exactly a terrible game at all. It's just more inspired by Magic the Gathering than it is actually a Magic the Gathering video game. By the way, if you want to pick up a copy of this, you still can. Check around your local used video game stores. Check some online retailers like Amazon or eBay. It's going for right around $17 plus tax and shipping and all that jazz. If you've played the game and you like the game, or you play the game and you don't like the game, go ahead and tell us all about your experience here on YouTube in the comments section below this video. And while you're at it, hop on Patreon, toss a buck in our tip jar. We appreciate the support. I'm Barry White. Thank you very much for watching.